A World War II fighter pilot is fighting over Burma when the sky suddenly tears open in front of his plane. A strange glowing rift pulls him out of the war, throws him almost 80 years into the future, and drops him onto a quiet road in modern-day America. But the pilot does not know any of this. When he wakes up, he still thinks the war is happening. He still thinks enemies are nearby. And the first person he sees is not a soldier, but a young boy named Elijah, staring at him like a ghost has just fallen from the sky. Before this impossible crash, Elijah is on a road trip with his stepmother, Mary Ann Whitaker. They are traveling from California to Columbus, and Mary Ann keeps trying to make the trip sound normal. She tells Elijah there is a zoo on the way, hoping that maybe it will cheer him up. But Elijah does not care about the zoo. He does not want this trip. He does not want distractions. And after staying quiet for a while, he finally says what is really hurting him. He misses his dad. Mary Ann has no answer because Elijah's father is gone. He was a pilot who lost his life in Afghanistan, and since then, both Mary Ann and Elijah have been stuck in grief. Elijah feels abandoned, while Mary Ann is quietly falling apart under the pressure of raising him alone. As they drive, the GPS starts acting strangely and sends them onto the wrong road. Mary Ann prepares to turn around, but suddenly the ground begins to shake. Then the sky opens. A glowing hole appears above them, and an old fighter plane comes crashing out of it. The plane slams down near their car, cracking the windshield and leaving them both stunned. Elijah runs toward the wreckage before Mary Ann can stop him. When he reaches the plane, he realizes it is not modern. It looks like something from another era. Then he sees the pilot inside. He is still alive. Smoke is rising from the plane and fire is starting to spread. Elijah screams for Mary Ann to help, and even though she is terrified, she runs to the cockpit and pulls the pilot out just in time. The man they save is Lieutenant Theodore Cole. At first he seems injured and confused, but then he asks Mary Ann if she is English or German. Mary Ann tells him they are American, and Theodore becomes even more alarmed. He thinks they are in Burma. He thinks the war is still going on. He says he just shot down an enemy plane. Elijah tells him the truth. This is not Burma. This is Ohio. Theodore looks around and sees no battlefield, no soldiers, no jungle. Then he notices a water tower with the name of the town written on it. It is his hometown. That is when his confusion turns into fear. He has no idea how he got here, but something about this place feels both familiar and impossible. Soon the police arrive and Theodore is taken to a hospital. Mary Ann tells the officers what happened, but when she explains that the pilot was talking like he had just come from World War II, they clearly do not believe it. To them, Theodore sounds unstable. To Elijah, he sounds honest. At the hospital, Theodore is kept under guard. Mary Ann is told her car will be repaired, and then she and Elijah can continue their trip. But Elijah cannot stop thinking about the pilot. Everyone else wants to dismiss him, but Elijah feels like Theodore is not lying. He is lost. So Elijah quietly sneaks into Theodore's room. Theodore wakes up and grabs him in panic, asking where he is and why everyone is holding him there. Elijah tells him they think he might be dangerous, but Theodore insists he is not. He only wants to go home. Then Theodore asks how much time has passed. He even asks if Christmas is over. Elijah tells him it is September. That makes no sense to Theodore, and now he becomes desperate. He tells Elijah there is a nearby police station, and Sheriff Stevens will know him. If Elijah can find Stevens and explain what happened, maybe he can help Theodore get out. Before Elijah leaves, Theodore gives him a chocolate bar. He says his wife Pauline gave it to him for luck, and whenever he keeps it with him, he feels safe. Then the officers realize Elijah is inside the room. A nurse rushes in and sedates Theodore before he can escape. After the car is fixed, Mary Ann tries to leave, but Elijah begs her to stop at the police station. He believes Theodore's story, and he wants to find Sheriff Stevens. Mary Ann does not believe any of it, but she agrees, mostly to prove to Elijah that this is just the confusion of an injured man. At the station, they ask for Sheriff Stevens. The officer tells them no one by that name works there. Mary Ann is ready to leave, but Elijah notices old photographs on the wall. One photo is from the 1930s, and standing inside it is Theodore, not someone who looks like him, Theodore himself. Elijah secretly takes the photo and shows it to Mary Ann outside. She gets angry at first because he stole it, but Elijah insists this proves Theodore is telling the truth. Mary Ann still tries to explain it away, saying maybe it is Theodore's grandfather, but now even she is not fully sure. Meanwhile, the crash site is taken over by a government team. They seal the area, remove the local police, and study the glowing rift in the sky like they have seen something like this before. The operation is led by Bill Kaminsky, with Nina Bowman working beside him. Bill orders Nina to keep Theodore under strict watch, but by the time her team reaches the hospital, Theodore has already escaped. Now, a World War II pilot is loose in modern America. Theodore walks through the town in shock. People talk into cell phones, cars look strange, and everything around him feels wrong. He still does not understand time travel, but he knows one thing: this is not the world he came from. Back at the rift, the ground keeps shaking. One scientist tells Bill they were trained to handle these anomalies, but nobody told them what happens if they cannot send the traveler back. Bill says nothing, and that silence makes it clear the danger is bigger than anyone wants to admit. Later, Marianne stops at a gas station, and Elijah discovers the real reason behind their trip. Marianne is not just taking him to visit his aunt. She is planning to leave him there. Elijah is crushed. He already lost his father, and now it feels like Marianne is giving up on him too. Marianne tries to explain that she is not doing this because she does not love him. She is doing it because she is overwhelmed, grieving and scared she cannot take care of him the way he deserves. But to Elijah, it feels like another goodbye, and that is why Theodore matters so much to him. Because another pilot has fallen from the sky, another man lost in war, and Elijah cannot shake the feeling that this impossible stranger did not arrive by accident. Just as Marianne tries to leave the gas station, Theodore suddenly appears again. He is riding a bike, confused and desperate, and crashes right into their car. For Marianne, this is getting impossible to ignore. For Elijah, it feels like proof. He tells her this cannot be a coincidence. First Theodore falls from the sky, then his name appears in an old photo, and now he has found them again. Elijah believes this is happening for a reason. He shows Theodore the old picture from the police station. Theodore looks at it and immediately recognizes himself. The man beside him is his friend Stevens. After Pearl Harbor, they both joined the army together. Now even Marianne has no easy explanation. Elijah begs her to help him, and Marianne finally asks Theodore where he needs to go. Theodore says he wants to go home. His wife Pauline must be worried about him. To him, Pauline is still young. She is still waiting. He has no idea that almost 80 years have passed. Since the police are looking for him, Marianne lets him into the car and drives him toward his old house. But the town has changed so much that Theodore can barely recognize it. The roads, the buildings, everything feels familiar and strange at the same time. After searching for a while, Theodore finally finds his home. He steps inside and calls Pauline's name, expecting his wife to answer, but instead, a nurse comes out. She explains that Pauline is still there, but now she is an old woman who needs care. Then Theodore sees the photographs around the house. Pauline grew old without him. She married someone else. She had children. She lived an entire life after he disappeared. For Theodore, this is the moment the truth finally hits. He is not lost in another place. He is lost in another time. Before he can face Pauline, he walks out, broken. Outside, Bill Kaminsky and his government team arrive. Bill tells Theodore they are not there to hurt him. They know what happened. A rift pulled him out of the past and dropped him into the future, but he cannot stay. If Theodore does not go back through the rift, the damage will spread, and everyone within 100 miles could die. Theodore is almost ready to listen, until Elijah discovers the worst part. According to history, Lieutenant Theodore Cole died in Burma. That means sending him back is not saving him. It is sending him back to the moment he is supposed to die. Elijah runs outside and warns Theodore. He tells him if he goes back, he will not survive. Then Elijah grabs him and they run. Because Theodore grew up in this town, he still remembers hidden routes and old shortcuts. He and Elijah escape the agents and reach a quiet riverbank. For Elijah, this is more than a rescue. Theodore reminds him of his father. Both were pilots, both went to war, and both were taken from the people who loved them. Across the river, Theodore sees an old building and tells Elijah that he once danced there with Pauline before leaving for war. That memory hurts him, because everything connected to his old life is now gone. Theodore says maybe he should return, but Elijah does not want to lose him too. He tells Theodore about his father, who died in Afghanistan, and says maybe Theodore came here for a reason. Maybe this is not an accident. Maybe the rift brought him here so he could survive. Theodore wants to believe that, but he knows staying in this time might destroy other people's lives. Meanwhile, Marianne is taken to the government headquarters where Nina explains the truth. These rifts have opened before. The government hides them from the public, but every time something comes through, it must be sent back. If Theodore is not returned within 24 hours, the rift will collapse the area around it. Marianne is terrified because Elijah is still with him. Later that evening, Theodore and Elijah come back on their own. Theodore has stopped running. He now understands that staying is not an option. Marianne explains everything to him, and Theodore agrees to return. But before he goes, he asks to see Pauline. Now Pauline is very old, but she still carries Theodore's photo in a locket. Even after all these years, some part of her never fully let him go. Theodore says goodbye to the woman who spent a lifetime missing him. Then he prepares to return to the past. Before leaving, Theodore tells Marianne not to give up on Elijah. He reminds her that time can take people away without warning, so if she still has a chance to stay with him, she should take it. Marianne understands. The government repairs Theodore's plane and gets it ready for one final flight. Bill warns that nothing from the past can remain in the present. Everything must go back exactly as it came. Then, Theodore remembers the chocolate bar he gave Elijah. He asks for it back, but Elijah has already eaten it. Everyone goes quiet. Bill worries that even one small change could affect the timeline, but Theodore calmly tells them it will be fine. Maybe he believes it, or maybe he just does not want Elijah to feel guilty. Theodore climbs into his plane. The rift is already fading, and time is almost up. Marianne, Elijah, and the government team watch as the old fighter plane takes off and flies straight toward the glowing tear in the sky. For a few seconds, nobody knows if it will work. Then Theodore disappears into the light. The rift closes, the shaking stops, and the sky becomes normal again. The world is saved, but Elijah does not feel like he simply watched a time traveler leave. He feels like he said goodbye to his father all over again. Only this time, Marianne does not leave him behind. Theodore's journey makes her realize that Elijah does not need to be sent away. He needs someone to stay. So Marianne chooses him. And in the end, the rift does not just fix time, it fixes the broken family standing beneath it.